Are you super picky about what you're looking for and now you're considering buying a lot in Navarre, Florida?
What the heck?
We're doing the intro for the video.
We?
Yeah.
I think there need to be two of us if we are going to do the intro.
Yep.
Mongo.
You ready?
No, I'm not ready.
Oh no!
And in this video, we're going to give you all the information you
Really?
need on buying land here in Navarre, Florida. Let's get into it.
I don't have enough coffee to deal with you yet.
You're welcome.
Are you super picky and you're considering a new custom build in Navarre, Florida? Stick around, we're going to give you all the information that you need to make the most informed decision on whether or not Navarre is a great spot for you to purchase land. Here lately, we've been seeing a lot of people that are actually considering building because people are getting a little bit more picky. We're seeing a lot more diversity in the kind of marketplace. A lot of, one of the biggest things actually that I've seen is we're coming back to a place where because of the prices, people are starting to want more of a multi-generational home as opposed to just a small house that's going to just be for them and their nuclear family. You know, this was something that we used to see, generations ago where multiple generations would stay in the same house. And since then, there's been a huge shift to where it's mostly just single family residences, single generation. And now we're coming back to a time where, once again, it's become a little bit more financially difficult to have single nuclear families in each residence. And we're starting to come back to that multi-generational house. So that's something that we're seeing a lot of. A lot of people are wanting mother-in-law suites or 2 master bedrooms so that you can have, separate areas for the kind of heads of household, if you will. But then we're also seeing a lot of people who are wanting to retire to the area and they're like, I want exactly what I want. So I want a custom home, It's kind of funny. I have these clients right now, super sweet, but they have this massive pool table. And if the house doesn't fit the pool table, it's the wrong house. So it's got to have the right number of bedrooms and an office and the standard, living room and dining area and a spot for the pool table. And we haven't found anything yet that will actually house this pool table the way it needs to, and so we might be looking at a custom build. So
build a house around the pool table.
Build a house around the pool table. Yeah. When that's the priority, that's the priority. And if you have the money to do that, then there it is. Yeah, do what you want with your money. But it is, something that we're seeing a lot of these days is people wanting custom builds. So we thought it would be pertinent to do a video on it for you guys.
Now, before we get into all the great things that you need to know about purchasing land and maybe even doing a custom build, we want to quickly introduce ourselves. My name is Andrew, and this is
AJ.
And we are local realtors here in the Navarre area. So if you're thinking about buying, selling, or purchasing land, which is what this video is about, you can go ahead and give us a call, text, email, throw a carrier pigeon, a football with a note on it. You can DM us on social. However you want to get a hold of us is my point. You can get a hold of us that way. All of our information will be on the screen.
We've been getting calls, texts, emails. Actually, I just had someone find me on Instagram and give me a call on my cell phone there, and it's so cool. Seriously, I know you guys, because we hear it all the time. It's like, oh my gosh, it's you guys. Yeah. And we're like, oh my gosh, it's you.
That's true.
It's really, really cool. We love hearing from you guys. So please, whichever way feels the best and most comfortable for you, go ahead and do it. Reach out to us regardless of what your timeline is and what your questions are. We love helping you. So please just reach out. So which came first, the chicken or the egg? I mean, the lot or the agent? Oh, well, the agent. So whenever you're going to purchase a lot, you're going to want a few people, right? You're going to want your agent, your lender, your builder, and then you're going to want the lot itself. But how do we find all of these entities, right? Well, having a great agent. It's really going to be, we're both like, yeah. A great agent is going to be able to set you up with the lot and the builder and the lender. And the reason why this is important is because if you intend to purchase a lot, if you use financing, you're going to have to build on it within 12 months. That doesn't mean start the process within that 12 months. That means it's got to be done essentially within that 12-month frame. And the lender is going to have to approve the builder, who's going to have to come up with a plan, and you're going to have to make sure that that's going to work with the county and the HOA that you're in. So there's a lot of stuff that has to happen simultaneously, especially if you're looking at a highly desirable desirable lot that maybe some other folks are looking at as well. Now, if you purchase a lot with cash, then you don't have to worry about that timeline. You can just buy the lot and hold on to it until you're ready to build your custom property on it. But you're still going to want a recommendation for a great custom builder that will work that area. And a great agent can help you with that as well.
So let's go ahead and talk about some of the pros about purchasing land now and then maybe doing your custom build or spec build later. First and foremost, in Navarre, it's running out of land eventually. But right now, it's going to take a little bit of a time. We've got a huge chunk over on the west side of Holly by the Sea area. Essentially, we'll throw a map up real quick and kind of circle it for you, where there is a ton of land. It is ready to be built on. I mean, it's still got trees on it. We still got to clear it. We still got to do all of our due diligence, but it's ready. We have land. In a lot of our areas here on the Emerald Coast, we don't have land. Fort Walton Beach, just to its east, there's no land to purchase. It doesn't exist. But here in Navarre, it does. So the big pro here is the earlier you purchase this, the better the pricing is going to be, because there's going to be a supply and demand issue. As supply goes down, demand will go up, which will drive those prices up. I mean, just in the last few years, you used to be able to buy a lot in Navarre when I first started for like $25,000 ready to be built, like in a good lot. It's not in wetlands or anything like that. And now that number has moved up to $40,000 and even higher. So the earlier you get in, the better. That is a big pro.
That's really our biggest pro in the area, is that, you secure it. You're not going to pay more for it later. It's yours to do what you want with it within reason. And I want to kind of go over this. Not all of our lots are going to allow you to do whatever you want to do on them. We have zones out here. We get a lot of questions out here about our lots. And I'm seeing a lot of folks that are like, well, I just want to park my fifth wheel out there, or I want to just have it and park my boat over there, or something like that. And there are all kinds of restrictions on our lots in Navarre. So the majority of them, you are going to be required to build a house on it, and of a specific size, usually around 1,600 square feet. You're not going to be able to just park a fifth wheel on it unless it's zoned for that. You will see some areas in Navarre that will allow mobile homes that are zoned specifically for mobile homes, and there might be a little bit more leeway there. But for the most part, you're really going to end up having to put a house on it. So if that's something that you're considering, you're wanting to just kind of hold the lot, maybe put something really tiny on it, definitely let us know, because we'll need to delve into that lot significantly further to let you know whether that's actually something that you're going to be able to do. Also, keep in mind, if you're looking to do something like that, you're going to have to pay cash for the lot. You can't purchase a lot using financing if you don't intend to build within that 12 months. So going back to what we said earlier, if you want it for something other than a house and it's zoned properly for it, and the county and potentially HOA will allow you to do what you want with it, you're going to have to pay cash.
Now, what AJ is talking about right now is just something that we're seeing in the market since about COVID timeframe. Previous to that, you were able to purchase a lot with a loan with absolutely no issue. You could hold on to it as long as you want. They didn't really care that much. But the myth that you can do 20% down for that, even in the past 10 years prior to today, that hasn't really been that common. Possible, but not that common. Most of the time you're going to have to do 40 or sometimes even 50% down on lots when it comes to that. Now, hopefully all of that will come back around. Now, let's go ahead and slide on over into some of the cons of purchasing a lot early. First and foremost, the biggest con that I can see is if you are purchasing it early and you're assuming you're going to come down here in like 3 years, 7 years, 8 years, 2 years, 15 months, 3 days, it doesn't matter, and your plans change. Now you're sitting on a lot that you don't really have any intent to purchase on or to put a property on. And that could, of course, cause some issue, because you might not be able to sell it. Once you pay all the fees and everything, you might not be able to sell it for the same amount that you got before. Property does not valuate at the same rate that property does, like actual property, real property as we call it in the real estate world. That means an actual property on it or a house. Now, all of that aside, if you do purchase a piece of land, you have some other cons that, well, it just comes with it. First, you still need to pay the taxes on that. You can't let that go. Now, taxes on a lot are a lot less than a house, so it's not going to be hefty, but still $800 a year, $1,000 a year. I mean, depending on the lot size, that's what you can kind of expect. Some of them will be more and some will be less. And then you're also going to have to pay any HOA fees if you purchase in an HOA area. Now, a lot of HOA fees will lower that for you while you're just holding on to a lot, but not all will do that. So you need to keep that in mind as well, because some of these can be a little bit heftier. In Navarre, the only real HOA that we have is Holly by the Sea, and I think it just bumped up to $500 a year, or
yeah, it's like
okay, that's what I thought. It was like $350 at one point, and it's been kind of creeping up a little bit there. And it shouldn't go too much higher, but that is still something to consider. So your holding costs could be $1,500 a year. That's something to note. $120 a month, or whatever that averages out to. That is definitely something to consider.
And not to mention, whenever you do go to sell, you're likely going to use an agent, because if you're watching these videos, then you're an intelligent person, and then you're going to have to pay agent fees. So all of this is going to dip into your profits depending on how soon after you purchase the lot you go to sell it. Now, obviously, if you wait a decade, you're more than covered. But if you're like 2 years later, hey, plans change, we're not going to PCS to the area anymore, and we'd really like to not be on the hook for this payment or just for this, lot, we'd rather pull our money back out of it and use it elsewhere, you might not be able to recoup all of your funds that quickly.
Especially if you're doing it right away. A few years down the road, yeah, maybe you can, but oftentimes somebody purchases something and 10 years down the road, they're selling it for not much more than they purchased it at, just because it doesn't appreciate at the same rate. Now, another con to consider that a lot of people don't really put into the equation whenever they're purchasing property is you generally have to fix the lot and get it prepped to purchase. This is not generally something a builder is going to do, although they will normally have resources available for you to be able to do that. And some builders will do it all for you, but not all of them. So keep this in mind. You're going to need tap fees done on the property. You're going to need to clear the property. So first off, clearing the property, taking out timber, taking out trees, it's expensive. And depending on if you are in a wetland area, it could be a little bit more expensive there. You could have to put fill dirt in. That could be very expensive as well. They're about $4,000 per semi-truck, or not semi-truck, per dump truck to come out there. And that was like 4 years ago. Those prices actually may be a lot higher now. And then clearing the land can be very expensive as well. Clearing the land can be beneficial, and it can offset a lot of your costs depending on the type of tree that is on your land. If you've got a lot of pine, let's say, you can actually tear that down and they can sell the pine and it will offset your cost. But that's not going to be on every single lot, especially in Navarre. It's going to be pretty hit or miss there, so you need to make sure that you look at all of that stuff. And then there are tap fees to consider, and these are things like getting your sewer, your electricity, and your water all set up on the property to actually be tapped into whenever the builder starts to build. Now, tap fees aren't all that expensive most of the time, but they can be. So generally a tap fee is going to be anywhere from $2,000 to about $15,000 each. So if you've got 3 different things you need to tap into, that can get expensive really quickly. So just make sure that you're looking at all of that before you purchase or throughout the buying process when you're doing your feasibility study, to make sure that the property is good for your purposes of what you're looking for.
And also something else to consider is the flood zone. If you go in there and it's a flood zone X, but then you take out a bunch of trees and that changes the elevation, you're going to have to backfill some dirt in there if you want it to be back at the elevation that's going to put you into an X flood zone to where you don't need that mandatory flood insurance. So just some things that are going to potentially, have to be on your mind whenever you're going through this process. And the other thing to consider is that it's not just whatever you want to build, right? It's going to be something that the county is going to approve. We talked about different types of zoning and such, but something else you want to consider is potential resale value, right? If you're building in a neighborhood where every house is 2,600 square feet, and you're like, I only need like 1,400, so I want to build something that's only 1,400, it's going to save me a ton of money, it's going to be perfect for my family, that's all well and good. But if you're the smallest house in the neighborhood, don't expect your prices to match the other ones in the neighborhood, right? It doesn't matter how upgraded you are, size does matter in this instance. So try to keep up with the neighborhood, be somewhere in the realm. You never want to be the most expensive house in the neighborhood, and you don't want to be the smallest house in the neighborhood either. So it's important to consider resale value. Even if you think this is my dream home, I don't care if it barely sells for anything later on because I'm going to live in it until I die. The universe has a really fun way of shaking things up for us regardless of what we want. We just, we don't have a crystal ball, things change, and it's better to bet on that than to just make it perfect for yourself. A 2-bedroom, 2-bath house and where everything else is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. It's just not going to go well for you. The audience that's going to be looking at your property is going to be significantly smaller than what it could be. You'll save yourself a ton of stress later on, or stress for your children later on if everything goes into probate and they're the ones to deal with it later on. So it's important to consider the future.
If you're listening to all of this and you're like, holy cow, this is a little bit too much, don't worry. This is stuff we handle for you. That's part of what a good real estate agent should be doing for you. So if you are curious about building this and you want to have a consultation with a new builder and you want to have a consultation about looking over the land in general, just give us a shout. We'll throw our information up on the screen. Again, super quickly. But don't worry, we'll handle all of this crazy stuff for you and give you that information as we go.
We do want to take this opportunity to thank our returning subscribers and viewers. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, maybe you're a first-time viewer here, first of all, welcome to our channel. We're super fun, super knowledgeable, and we're local. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
It's like right here. Ding.
Is it over here?
I know, we always do it over here, but I think it's actually over here. I thought about that the other
Hit that
day.
subscribe button and ding that little bell, and you'll be notified every time we do another video. So we went over a lot of the pros and cons of basically, lots in general, not necessarily specific to Navarre. So whenever you incorporate Navarre itself into this whole question of, is it a good idea to buy a lot in Navarre specifically, take into consideration that Navarre is kind of the center calm between the storms of Pensacola and Destin. So you've got these two big cities right on either side, well, big for our area, all right, and you've got two airports right there as well. You've got the Pensacola airport, and then you've got VPS over there in the Destin, Fort Walton Beach area is what it's called, but really it's kind of right there by Eglin and like Niceville, but we'll give it to them. Call somebody by its name, right? And we've got all these beaches right here. Navarre is super close to the beaches regardless of where in Navarre you are. You're super close to 98, which will take you anywhere to the east or west. So you've got a quick mode of travel those directions there. And then you've got 87 that'll take you to the north. And then also up 87, you have 10, which will take you east and west again a bit further. So it's very kind of travel friendly. But then you've also got the military bases. You've got NAS, Hurlburt, Eglin, Duke Field, 7th Group. Like everybody's right here. All that to say, there are so many reasons to come to this area. And there are so many reasons that people in general come to this area. Navarre is known for its great schools. You've also got health care very quickly accessible. Over in Gulf Breeze, you've got Baptist Health, I want to say, and they're great. They have a huge facility there. The close proximity to the larger cities that a lot of people want to come to for tourism, and even Navarre gets a bit of tourism as well. And as it continues to get bigger and bigger, that's likely to increase as well. So purchasing a lot, we gave you the kind of overview of what that's like, but buying a lot in Navarre with all of these things in mind, I would say is a pretty great investment, regardless of whether you're going to build it or hold on to it, because eventually everything's going to be bought up and we're not going to be able to create any additional land.
Yeah, I've been saying it for about 4 years now. Navarre is going to look a lot like Destin. So if you've been to our area and you know what Destin looks like, the tourist city of it, Navarre is turning into that over time. And we've been seeing that trend over the last 8 or 9 years. So investing in this area is actually not a bad idea.
If you guys are still with us, go ahead and comment down below with what's your favorite neighborhood in Navarre, and give us a thumbs up. I don't know if it's on this side or this side, but definitely make it look like this, because we've been giving you all kinds of information. If you're still with us, then you've likely learned something. So let us know we're awesome. Let other people know we're awesome by clicking that thumbs up, and we will see you at the next one. Bye, y'all.